Oh, look at me. Why do I look like this? So yeah, on the agenda today, we're going to talk about Project M. We're going to talk about Project Plus. We're going to talk about PM in the 2014 era when it was popping off. And I've got a very special guest, my old friend Junebug from MDVA. Justin Warden did my camera. I am in a very vaporwave mode right now. Let's talk, dude. Let's talk PM. First of all, thank you for joining me.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Excited to talk about this stuff. I think it's important right now. Do you want me to start just sort of with my history with PM, or like?
Yeah, introduce yourself. Talk about all the stuff that you want to kind of provide some context for the people who might not know you, although I think all of them do.
Yeah, sure. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Junebug, or my tag is Junebug, name is Arjun. I've been playing Smash for 12 years now.
Me too.
Yeah, we're old heads, dude.
Yeah, 08.
We're 08. Yeah, 08 was when Brawl came out, which is the first game I started with, which is I think the fact that I did Melee and PM from Brawl is like slightly more rare than a lot of the people I know that are still in the community that played Brawl are like Ultimate people.
Mm-hmm.
But like the skill tree I chose to follow was like I played Brawl from 08 to I think around 2012, but around the last 2 years wasn't as active in the scene. And also Smash was in a general lull before the documentary.
Yeah.
So there weren't too many tournaments happening. And also I was in high school and I had Asian parents, so it was hard to go to tournaments as often. But in college I met Rishi, and then we started playing Melee and PM, and I started them both at the same time, and so like I didn't have like any bias going in of either game. I just like really enjoyed both games, and right as I think it was like sophomore year of college, 3.0 dropped.
3.0, 3.02,
Yeah, Project M 3.02 was so I guess even before that we were playing PM because Rishi I think was a tester for PM, so we were playing like 2.6 early versions. I was playing like Ike back then, who was very, very strong.
Okay. I remember that Ike. Yes, I remember that Ike.
But yeah, so we were playing a lot of PM, and PM was also like, because Smash was in a lull, I think PM was in a good place. Like people were talking about it, like, oh, this is a really cool game. Like, wow, like modded Smash. This is really cool. And I think Melee around this time was experimenting with mods. I don't know exactly when 20XX came out. But like
maybe around then.
Yeah, there was a general culture of like, hey, we like this game a lot. Let's like understand it. Let's take it to the next level. Like we like this default engine that Smash provides to express ourselves. Let's take it to the next level. So that was sort of what was happening around that time. And then 3.02 came out, which was like this big balance patch for PM. And as soon as 3.02 came out, it was also around the advent of like the local streaming boom. Like my timeline's like sort of hazy, but it's like Doc, local streaming boom, PM is all kind of like similar. 3.02 similar era.
Yeah. VGBC picked up PP. That was like the first ever like big, and then there was CT Hungry Box and CT M2K. All that stuff was happening.
CT versus VGBC wars. Oh man, that was, they were like the two big streaming giants back in the day. That was kind of crazy.
Right. I remember there was that. Yeah, all the gods started getting picked up by little small orgs first. I remember MIOM at Mango for a little bit. There was MIOM at Mango. I missed that era.
So yeah, PM was very popular back then because it was Smash 4 hadn't come out yet, so there was no like clamoring to a new Smash game. People weren't really playing Brawl as much. The Brawl community wasn't as active. And Melee and Brawl players were actually both playing PM. It was like this unified front, like they were competing against each other. They were enjoying the game. People really, really liked the game. And I remember the subreddit was just plastered with PM posts. Like
our Smash Bros.
Our Smash Bros. Yeah. During this time, I was pretty good. I was up there. I was definitely helped by the fact that MDVA was the region that VGBC was located. So I had like not only the really good practice because it's sort of like a regional hub, like population center, the DMV area. I was also getting a lot of stream time and like practice against the best players who were coming down to Xanadu, Smash at Xanadu, to compete in like one of the big weeklies of the time. Diddy was very strong, one of the top 4 characters in 3.02, and it was really fun, you know, just competing with my friends. You know, Rishi, Laud, Pink Fresh, Seagull Joe, Boss, Chillin, Chew, like all these people just like coming together, and like it was a really high level of competition. And I had a lot of friends from like, you know, Rishi and Laud and Pink Fresh. Coney, forgot about Coney. There's just like so many people. I bet Chad is just like listing up all the MDVA movies that were back then. But it was just like
I remember Nintendo's sick Game & Watch.
Yeah, Nintendo had a pretty good Game & Watch, and he was definitely nining people.
Okay.
Yeah, golden era of PM is really fun.
It really seemed that I remember in particular for me, it was like Big House 4 where I was watching it and I was like, dude, this is like low key. This is the most hype event here. Okay, Melee Top 8 was also really, really good at Big House 4. That was just a great tournament, actually. Yeah. But yeah, PM and Melee were both like very high level. I remember the another tournament that was like that was Skatar 3.
Yes.
And that had the Emu Killer run. It had Professor Pro versus Rolex was like one of the hypest money matches any Smash has ever had. The Snake Ditto.
Yes.
Because there was like beef, right? Like,
yeah, they were beefing at each other. They both like wanted the title of best Snake, and you know, it was all like funny stuff. I don't think either Rolex or Aaron, Professor Pro, hate each other.
Nah, probably not.
But it was very fun. Like that was similar to like the Salty Sweet era. So it's like that beef was really exciting.
It was, dude. We got to bring that back somehow.
Yeah. I think it would be cool to have Salty Sweet back. But yeah, it was really fun. A lot of people were playing it. But then, you know, something happened.
Let's talk about that, dude.
Yeah.
And I want to preface this too. There were a lot of things. So I read Chia's Twitlonger that she posted about all of the Save Smash stuff and PM in the context of that. And I worked at Twitch from 2016 to 2018, so this was after kind of the wake of all that stuff. I didn't hear about most of this stuff. I actually wasn't like everyone else. So I guess the big revelation that I completely didn't realize, and I think Linnea Caps posted that there was no C&D. It was just all hush hush.
Yes. Below
the table, off the table. I didn't realize that. I thought there was a C&D. So that was very interesting to me. That was
there's a big misconception about what happened to PM. And I mean, I think all of it was sort of hush hush, which was why like there was so much confusion and like most people didn't know. But I think at this point, people understand that at some point, Nintendo got word and through different avenues, maybe like Twitch streamers, TOs, they were like, hey, we need to stop doing this. So there was like the Nintendo made a call, and then there was an enforcer class, and but I don't know who was told to do what. But I do know like specific events like Paragon 2014, and also a lot of this is going to be like in the Project M documentary, which I highly recommend people watch when it comes out. I believe it's like sorry. Continue.
No, I was going to ask, when is that dropping?
I don't know if it has an official release date, but I believe I saw on the person who's creating its Twitter that like a draft had been made.
Ooh,
so like I don't know anything about documentary creation and like how long it takes.
I'm excited for that. I will definitely have to check that out. I don't even think I follow the creator. Do you know what their handle is?
They're on private, but I think the PM Doc Twitter is a rewrite. I think the title of it.
I have seen that floating around. Yeah.
So another thing to keep in mind that was important during this time is Smash wasn't big. Like like we didn't have like TSM and Cloud9 and like CLG. We didn't have all these guys. This was 2014, 2015 era. Like Smash was just starting to get the eyes of these people.
I would even go so far as to say that in general, esports influencers weren't a thing back then in general, like they are now, right? Like when I think about like Twitch was very much in its nascency back then. Is that even the word there? I think it is. In terms of like having big streamers who were like very popular and recognizable by kind of, you know, mainstream folk, that just kind of wasn't a thing back then. So like,
right.
And then in terms of the timeline of like I feel like the C9 Mango pickup, for example, because he was kind of the first big one where it was like, oh shit, this is a really legitimate top tier esports org. I mean, I think that was 2014 or 2015. So yeah, this was all very, we didn't feel like we had any leverage or power back then.
Yes. No, nobody was, we didn't have a Ludwig in our corner.
Ludwig in our corner, yes.
There was no huge streamers, not as many huge teams, if any. It was a different time for Smash. And essentially, Nintendo came with this threat that was like, hey, if you don't follow this, we're gonna shut everything down. And like people were essentially given a choice between whether to support PM or to support like a potential esports career. And most people in the Smash community who were trying to grow in esports chose esports. And I understand, like I as somebody who understands capitalist systems, I understand, like, okay, like you were given a choice and you had to do it. And like mostly I'm blaming Nintendo. I'll get to more of that later. But it still felt kind of bad.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about the details of who was. I mean, I have to imagine that a lot of the people that Nintendo approached probably felt very cornered because they were like, well, if I don't comply, who knows what bad things could happen to me, or who knows what bad things could happen to PM. Maybe it does get C&D'd. So we have to. I mean, I don't really know. The thing that I always wondered about was I always assumed that GimR, the meme is GimR killed PM, right? It's like GimR killed PM.
That's some BS. GimR was just a fall guy. Like he happened to be streaming a lot of PM.
A lot of PM,
And the free GimR movement, the fact that like it coincided pretty like close in timeline to like when PM stopped getting streamed, that left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, because like a lot of PM subs were sub to GimR and helped him like become free. So that left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. But he didn't kill PM. I think he was sort of forced. And maybe one day GimR will come out with like his full story, but like as somebody who's like grown up around him and has talked to him a lot, I think that he's kind of forced into it.
It's kind of overblown in terms of I always assumed it was mostly a meme kind of thing. But yeah.
I mean it is kind of messed up. Like he did like take a lot of money from the PM community and then was forced to
not support it. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's like absolved of all guilt. Right. I think he definitely feels guilty about it based on like me talking to him, or like
I get that vibe too. Yeah.
So like he didn't just. It's not like just like Plank. Like nobody's like evil, and like there's very few evil people in the Smash community now. It's a lot of like miscommunication, and I don't think like GimR felt good about like what had to happen with PM when Nintendo was sort of doing that stuff.
The thing that I find is so interesting is how much of this stuff happened like through like Twitch as like a I don't even know what to say, like kind of as a, because it's not like the way some of these Twitlongers make it sound is like Twitch was kind of this intermediary sort of force that like Nintendo wasn't even directly reaching out to some of these streamers, but it was like, Twitch talked to Chia and Twitch said Clash Tournaments has to stop doing PM, and Twitch removed PM from the category list and things like that. So it's like, it's funny how that interaction must have happened. Like, it's funny that Nintendo has somehow set up Twitch as a barrier. And I almost wonder if like, I almost wonder if Nintendo, the reason they tried to take all these back channels was precisely because they were afraid of public outcry along the vein of Free Melee Save Smash, and like,
oh yes, yeah,
right.
I think like that's one of the most insidious things about what happened to PM, because nobody knew about what happened. Like it sort of quietly died down, as opposed to this giant ruckus that happened at like Evo and with the Free Melee movement.
Right.
The fact that PM was sort of like stifled and like silently chokehold, and like that stuff was very good for Nintendo.
Yeah, and almost like when you actually look at these, and even when you read these kind of statements from, you know, Caps and Chia, I'm like looking at this like, okay, so it almost makes Twitch sound worse than Nintendo was. Like Nintendo did such a good job distancing themselves from all the mess, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there was an enforcer class, and like, I mean, obviously, like at some point, I want like an accountability there, but I know who the real enemy is.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it is unfortunate that they were that Twitch was doing stuff like that. Like the two main big tournaments, or I guess there's three main big tournament moments. There was Paragon, Apex,
Paragon,
and SKTAR.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Paragon, I believe it was like sort of this fundraiser, but for the PM community. Like a bunch of money was raised to go into the pot. Like they did like T-shirts and like accessories, and then it was one of the biggest PM tournaments of all time.
This was Paragon West Coast, right? This is the one that Mr. L's won, who is now known as Forrest.
Yeah, Mr. L's.
Yeah.
First
time I ever heard of the guy. Now I see his Marth clips on YouTube like 3 times a week.
Yeah, combo prodigy.
Combo prodigy, yes, agreed.
Yeah, he is just Smash prodigy and Rivals prodigy. He's just good at platform fighters.
Agreed.
So Paragon, right before PM was supposed to be streamed at Paragon on Twitch, they got word they were not allowed to stream it on Twitch.
Oh yeah, how close to the event was this? Because I remember hearing about this.
This was the day before.
The day before, right?
Yes. Yep. And so that was sort of and I believe after that everybody was streaming on Hitbox. So like, we got
Hitbox.tv. Bro, I forgot about Hitbox.tv.
Hitbox.tv, yeah.
What the hell?
They were definitely the source of PM content for a while. And,
not Hitbox, the Smashbox creator, but Hitbox.tv, yeah.
Hitbox.tv. Oh, man. Wow. Throwback. Yeah, so they were forced to not stream on Twitch. And it was so hush-hush because nobody's like, oh, like, why did they make that decision? Like, why can't we stream on Twitch? But everyone kind of like knew what was happening. Like, there's only one reason that Twitch would make that call.
It actually does. I keep drawing these parallels with the DMCA stuff because it kind of does look similar, right? Like when you kind of, you know, when you read the room in terms of kind of how these conversations with the DMCA stuff on Twitch are happening, it's like Twitch basically trying to avoid liability because the corporations are coming to Twitch saying you're fucking up. And they're like, well, we're not really liable for what these guys are doing. And they're like, well, you better control your streamers because they're your, you know, partnered streamers they're essentially like, you know, 1099 employees or whatever, I believe. So, you know, it's like, well, these streamers have contracts with Twitch. So it's like, you got to go talk to them then. And then Twitch is like, all right, I guess I have to talk to them. Because if Twitch is going to claim that they're a safe harbor, you know, they're just trying to get out of liability essentially.
And also, I guess this is a good point to segue into IP law. It is so convoluted and written in favor of the corporations. It's wild. Like, do you know about the Mickey Mouse clause?
I do, but go ahead and summarize it for the stream.
Essentially, like when Mickey Mouse was about to go into public domain, Disney was like, we still need him to like make more money. So they lobbied to change copyright laws so that they could retain Mickey Mouse.
That's
and that sort of story is it's a
insane.
good metaphor for how much power corporations have over their IPs. They can just sort of decide like this is not a good representation of our IP.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bonkers. It's bonkers. I always think about like a game I've been playing a lot of recently is like chess, right? I've been playing a lot of chess, and I was joking around it. Yeah, great game. Been around for a long time. I was joking around at Smash Summit. I was like, dude, I can't wait to be good at chess so I can finally be good at a game that a corporation can't shut down. And I was saying, like, can you imagine if like chess pieces weren't like, imagine Netflix want to make the Queen's Gambit or whatever, but like, you know, they can't because like the image of the bishop is owned by some fucking
Magnus Carlsen.
Right. Or whatever, you know, and it's just like, and you can't do anything with, imagine if sports were like that. Like you can't run a fucking basketball tournament because like the image of the basketball is owned by the NBA or something, and you got to pay these licensing fees. And it's like, what? No, like there's a reason like, you know, sports and games like that are able to grow to the size they are and be as ubiquitous as they are. It's because there isn't red tape bullshit that prevents it from growing. And I think that's the toughest thing about esports is because esports are so young and all these properties are owned by corporations that can police them and control them. You're always at the mercy of the rights holders when it comes to streaming and esports.
Oh man, yeah, that's so scary.
It's so scary. Grassroots communities can't afford licensing fees, first of all. Oh, not that Nintendo's even giving that option, by the way. If Nintendo was even giving that option, I think we would take it at this point.
Yeah, and like it's so frustrating because mods are dope, and like there's been so many good game mods, and you know,
Counter-Strike and Dota started. Counter-Strike and Dota both started as mods. Well, okay, Dota wasn't a mod. Dota was a map, but still,
two of the biggest esports in the world. Started as mods. Easy. So there's like such a clear market there. Sonic Mania too, like. Sonic Mania was when Sega hired a bunch of ROM hackers to design a Sonic game for them because they're like, oh, you're actually making a really good game.
Right.
There's like precedent for like monetizing games that are using your properties.
Yeah,
and
plenty.
Potentially profiting off it. But Nintendo fucking hates mods. Nintendo fucking hates mods for no reason. They actively kill them.
That's the part that blows my mind the most is it's not even, I don't even know what to call it. It's not even capitalistic greed anymore. Because if they were strictly operating from a capitalistic greedy viewpoint, they would find a way to make money off of all of it.
I know, like they can get more profit.
Get more money. I know. It's bonkers. We're like, let us just give you our money. It's fine.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate that Nintendo is so draconic with their IP.
Right. And weird.
Slippy's obviously amazing. Like such an amazing tool that the community now has. Mm-hmm. Even in the UCF days, people were kind of hush hush about it. Like
they were.
There wasn't like people really didn't want to mess with Nintendo for like PM, UCF, and then Slippy is like the breaking point. Like finally we have enough like behind us now that we feel comfortable sort of like, hey, this is wrong. And I mean, pandemic could have something to do with it. We're all sort of pent up. We really want to play Melee.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think things would have been different if not for the pandemic. But you know, it's funny you mentioned because like with Slippy, you know, I feel like the interesting thing about Nintendo, this is what I always assumed, right? Was like back in 2014 when this PM stuff went down, I felt like Nintendo, well, they had a very clear goal, which is our game Smash 4 is coming out and like that game needs to do well. And so, you know, PM has the spotlight right now and PM is growing at a rate that is going to impact the bottom line of Smash 4 sales potentially, so we got to shut it down. And it's funny that this stuff is happening now because my assumption was like that was kind of a rare moment where there was like a clear Nintendo had a clear goal and it was like there was a clear timeline, Smash 4's release. Right now I don't really feel like there's any of that, and I'm a little bit shocked that some of this stuff is happening now that when it is, because it's like, you know, Melee's been out for so long. Like, does Nintendo really care? I mean, it's strange to me. Like, I wonder why they're It's like, why now? I mean, okay, yeah, Slippy is very big, but what else do they think they're gaining?
From my perspective, and definitely sort of biased in my experience as a PM player and just being in Smash and all that, I think Nintendo's primary goal has always been to sell new games, sell new stuff. And, PM, they could justify as a threat to selling the new Smash.
Yep.
And they can also justify Melee as a threat to selling new consoles. Like if people are playing Slippy, then they're not playing Animal Crossing.
Maybe.
The weird convoluted way that Nintendo worked is like, we're not going to make money on esports.
Yeah.
And we're going to shut down everything that's not selling Nintendo stuff.
I was in the Smash 4 Invitational, and the Smash 4 Invitational was very interesting because a lot of the players were, first of all, there was more Melee presence than Brawl presence, which I thought was odd.
Yeah,
Like for example,
it's like fundamentally added on from Brawl. Yeah.
But it was just interesting, even the players they picked, because there was no Armada, there was no Mewtwo King, those weren't players, but we had like Pew Pew. Like Pew Pew was a player, and we had we had Hugo. That's right, of course, we had Hugo's Mega Man. I forgot about Hugo's Mega Man. Yes. Right. Okay, so that was the thing. Yeah, you weren't allowed to show up on stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was this undercurrent there. Like it was at majors, so but it was in like I guess this was after, but so like it would be at majors, but at least the big ones, like Big House, it would be in like hotel rooms. It was at events, but it couldn't be streamed. You could play it, but you couldn't talk about it.
Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is? I feel like now, because back then people were like I was very excited. I was like, oh, Smash 4 Invitational, this is our first bridge to knowing people at Nintendo, essentially. Like, because before that, it was completely in the dark. Nintendo was completely sequestered from the competitive community. The Smash 4 Invitational really was the first time many of us met people from Nintendo. But yeah, it was like this kind of thing where it's like, well, we don't know what the long term here is. Like, hopefully these are relationships we can build that will foster the competitive community. And I think we got maybe a 10th or a 20th of what we hoped we could have gotten from that relationship, I think.
It is so messed up because they they extended that olive branch to you guys. And while they were like stabbing like other Smash games and like effectively the other seeds, like behind the scenes, they're sabotaging everything, but publicly, like, I have this invitation, it's so insidious what they did.
And you know what the funny thing was, by the way, just as an aside, because I was going to mention this earlier, but I totally forgot to. There were stories back then of how, like, at the treehouse, like in the Nintendo office, like they had a PM set up. Like they were like fans of PM as a game, but they isn't it bonkers?
Yeah, that just makes me so angry.
It's so god.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
It's very like everything that happened towards the end, with PM in 2014, 2015, and like 2016-ish. Is very sad. Like I wouldn't wish, and like of course, I mean I was definitely like a college kid, like definitely sort of idealistic in the way I viewed the world. Right. And I mean, I was like very gung-ho about like, hey, like this is the wrong thing that's happening with PM. And a lot of my friends, like they pursued the opposite direction. And it felt bad to like feel like I was fighting a losing battle, back then, and it was very tough. And like I'm like the best case scenario, like I had like a good Smash career. I still have like all my Smash friends, and like I'm doing fine. But like that sort of resent was felt by an entire swath of the Smash community that was just like abandoned. And like it talks about this in the Twitlonger from Anonymous. Like there was a huge loss of revenue for the Smash community because PM people didn't feel like they were being catered to at events or like having events. And like that's a good amount of the population because the game was really, really popular in 2014, 2015.
Agreed.
And I still, it is still popular. It's just people don't see it as much. Like I think it could be popular again, but there was a large swath of the community that was abandoned, and it's really sad. Really sad for them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about I want to also have like a positive note. How do you feel about Project Plus?
I have a positive. Yeah. So now that sort of we are starting to realize that Nintendo involvement in the scene is generally been a negative. PM could potentially come back to like the spotlight. I mean, what's stopping PM from being at a major? Like,
yeah, pretty much nothing.
Yeah, it could get C&D'd like the Big House.
Right.
But that's already happening with Melee. So like might as well have PM there.
Yeah,
and,
it's already happening. It's literally already happening with Melee. It's insane.
Yeah, it's also I think Resliv tweeted this out. It's funny because PM. So the PMDT shut down because of fear of legal backlash, not because they were actually C&D.
Right.
But Melee was C&D before PM was.
Which is wild. Yeah. Yeah, Melee in some form was C&D. And actually what's funny is Ultimate was C&D before PM was.
Wait, Ultimate was?
Well, because Ultimate's at the Big House. Ultimate's at the Big House.
So, right.
There you go. Right?
An
Ultimate tournament got shut down. Got officially shut down before a PM tournament ever was, which is bonkers.
That is ironic.
It is ironic. There's a lot of irony about the Big House C&D. I mean, least of all, and I say this all the time, and I think it's incredibly fucked up, for Robin and Sheridan, and that the partnered events, the events with these Nintendo logos. Yes. So I mean, Ko from Japan, he tweeted the other day, like, wait, I didn't realize, and I talked about this on one of my other videos. Mm-hmm. He said, I didn't realize these events that had Nintendo on their streams, the Nintendo logo, I thought they were getting sponsored by Nintendo. All the Japanese people thought, oh, those events are getting money from Nintendo. They're sponsored. And they were like, because when the news originally came out, they were like, oh, I mean, I guess it makes sense that the event gets shut down. Like, Nintendo's not going to sponsor an event that's running a mod. That's reasonable. And then people realized, wait a minute, what do you mean they weren't getting spot? Like, then what was all the logos and stuff? And then they were like, wait a minute, this isn't anything. They weren't getting anything.
Yeah. That's why I hope that those events were NDA'd, because if they weren't and they were truly getting nothing, that is like a negligent amount, or like they just did not think that through. Like, that was such good information for the Smash community to know, like, oh, Nintendo support isn't that good.
It's just nothing. It doesn't really mean anything. I don't know if you saw the doc that came out like 2 days ago about the ARMS community. There was someone from the ARMS community said how Nintendo has hurt the competitive ARMS community. And it was kind of in a different manner, where it was like Nintendo kind of took the reins and were like, okay, we got Nintendo versus Nintendo competitive. We're going to put on some great ARMS events for you guys. And then they ended up just kind of, every time it was convenient for some marketing purpose, they do some little stupid thing with some really weird format. And it was kind of, imagine it was like, imagine the Nintendo invitationals that we get in Smash every now and then are the only form of competition you really get, essentially. Obviously I'm oversimplifying, but like, and then every time you try to be like, all right, this is how we want to do things, and then they're like, no, not. We're gonna keep doing this bullshit with items or whatever. It's horrible.
Yeah, like the Grassroots tournament rule set that the Grassroots way of playing the game that we've developed over these years is good. And like, if Nintendo came in and started saying, okay, like, we can let you have tournaments, but they can only be 2-minute time mode. Or whatever other stuff they wanted to impose, that would actively be bad for the community.
Oh, it'd be so horrible, dude. It'd be so horrible.
I will say these good things about the PM community. Like, as much as they've been through, like, I think, we've almost like trauma bonded, it is a very tight knit group of people. And I've met some really good friends in the PM community, and it's like, they're really passionate. They're smashers. Like, there's an archetype of personality in this Smasher, just like the super passionate, gung ho, maybe a little ADHD, adrenaline junkie there.
Yeah,
and you know, PM players are like that too, and you know, there's a lot of passionate people that love the game and want to play the game, and want to see the game be played. And you know, a fun fact: this is a ResLive stat.
okay.
In 2018, there were 2,000 unique members in PM tournaments at majors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, exactly 2,000? Over 2,000.
Oh, greater than 2,000.
Greater than 2,000.
Exactly
awesome.
2,000. I guess. Yeah, there's a lot of people that want to play the game, and
Yeah.
you know, if it comes to majors again, I think those numbers are going to go up.
Agreed.
So there are players. It's just like, you know, there's a lot of external factors going on right now, and or I mean back then, for like not being able to enter events. And the largest PM major of all time was in 2018.
Yeah, that was bigger Belk?
Yeah, even bigger Belk.
Even bigger Belk. Even bigger Belk.
Yeah. So PM is there's players, you know. Right now there's a new balance patch. Right now, new version of the game called P+.
Right. It's good, right?
Yeah, it's
I haven't played it yet,
like
honestly.
It is my favorite version of the game. If you want to play it, it is I think projectplusgame.com, and there's a Discord there too, and like instructions for how to set it up. And I also like the rebranding to P+, because even if it gets shut down, it's like I was telling you this earlier. It's like the head of a hydra. Like if P+ gets shut down, we'll just come up with Project Mus.
Yeah,
and
whatever. Yeah, just more projects.
Another one.
Yep.
We just rename them on, and hopefully that will keep the game alive. Like worst case scenario. But yeah, partner streamers stream it all the time. You know, Magi, Mango, Zane, Plup.
Yeah, I liked the Magi Mango rivalry era or whatever the hell that was. Like Magi's Link is like really good, I guess.
Oh, Magi's Link is so good. She's really good at PM. She hustled me. There's a really funny story.
Really? Is she from PM? Did she get her started melee with PM? I should probably know this because I even had her on the reads, but I just never really dug into this.
She's definitely been playing PM for a long time. She used to be a Junebug fanboy. She told me that.
Fair enough.
And then so she's been playing the Diddy Link matchup for a very long time. And then I've like almost never played against a good Link. And we played for the first time on my stream, back when P+ had a random revival in April when I guess P+ came out. Yeah. Which was also crazy turn of events. Knuckles came out, quarantine was happening.
God, yes, yeah.
Everybody's like, P+ is the new shit, which was great. I guess we didn't fundamentally like address the underlying problems in the community with PM and like the community perception of it like we are doing now. So it didn't really take a root as much. And, you know, then Valorant came out and like the hype died down. But we played on my stream and Magi destroyed me.
No shit.
She hustled me, dude.
Wow. Yeah, she looks really good. And then Mango was playing like Wolf or whatever?
I think Mango plays like Falco, Mario, Wolf.
Yeah.
I know Cody plays, IBW plays PM, Lucky plays PM.
Yep.
There's a good. Zane's also told me like if PM comes back, he'll play it. Like if people start to care about it, because Zane's a ruthless competitor.
Sure,
he wants to play Smash.
I'm sure he'd be good at it, just like everything else.
I've played him, and it's actually terrifying how good he is already.
Who does he play?
He was playing. Well, his Roy is not that great. Oh, sorry, Zane. If you listen to this, his Marth is just. Is Marth.
Sure.
Like, regardless of the game.
Why isn't his Roy great? I guess he's just not familiar enough with the character. He doesn't go for the Roys they're supposed to go for.
Yeah, Roy has, like, optimal combos as opposed to, like, weird resets and stuff.
And he does the weird resets because he knows melee Roy.
Yes, yeah. He could, like, potentially get a lot of damage off a hit, and instead he does, like, down tilt nair. like, oh no.
Right. Yeah, I've got to play some P+, dude. I've got to get on that.
Yeah. Dude, if you need any help, if you want to play, just hit me up.
I will.
There's a P+ Discord, I think, on the site. I think right now there's a pretty big like West Coast invitational going on. No Fundies League, NFL.
Okay.
We got a few events in the works. I think there's an East Coast League coming out soon. That's sort of hush hush, but I don't want to like drop it for sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
We'll look out for that on Twitter.
There's we're our 2014 Melee phase, which is like the local streaming phase. Like if you're trying to relive the old Grassroots, like knowing everybody in the chat, watching a 300 person weekly, like that vibe is in PM right now, and we're gonna need it for a while because we had all of our infrastructure taken away from us 5 years ago, so like we have to build that back up again. Assuming that Nintendo doesn't shut us down. But I mean, I feel pretty hopeful now that like the community is behind us. Yeah. And support the stream, support the game. The game only dies if you stop playing.
Any people or Twitch streams or Twitters that people should be following if they're interested? Any YouTubes to plug, anything like that?
Oh, I don't want to forget people. Project M Nexus is a really good like hub of PM content. Definitely follow me because I retweet a lot of PM stuff.
AR Junebug on Twitter. Yeah, we'll put some resources below and like at least Twitters to follow and things like that, just so people are interested or people who are interested can follow. I mean, I'm definitely gonna follow the PM doc. Looking forward to that. Hopefully that'll be a game changer. I think for the scene. If that comes out at the right time, it could be huge game changer because we saw what the Melee doc did, and what I think everyone's hoping the new metagame doc that Sandbox is putting out is going to do. So
I have high hopes for like the reception of doc content with Smash. Like I hope it goes well.
It's very bingeable.
Oh yeah, for sure. People just like stories. Like we're in a narrative era, and
definitely.
Smash has so many stories.
Yeah, that's the best thing about it. That's what I always thought was that when you look at what Nintendo wants out of us and what they did, they were like, let's utilize these personalities because even Nintendo recognizes how colorful our community is, right? So.
Yeah. It's so manipulative what they did. So overall, I have high hopes for the Smash community and the PM community, and I really hope that if people are truly what's it called? If people feel bad for PM community or like they want to make things right, then you can support the game. You can
just play the game.
Play the game.
Yeah.
You can, help tournament organizers. You can bet like PM community. Like we're all homies. Like it's just so grassroots. We like the people that are playing the game. Like they shouldn't like be playing the game. They're doing it because they really like it. Like it doesn't. It's sort of like Melee. Like most of the people in the Melee community, like they're not doing it for money. They just really, they just really like the game. And if you want to support that type of passion, if you want to help the Smash community, definitely support P+ and PM.
Thank you for coming on in what must be a very busy week for you, by the way.
Oh yeah, no problem. Always trying to talk about this game. Always trying to outreach and do all this stuff.
Fuck yeah.
And I really appreciate you having me here.